Hello again. A few years ago, a man called Dr. Costas Papageorgiou began a project at Queen's University in Belfast, the aim of which was to study narcissists. In Dr. Papageorgiou's words, narcissism is part of the dark tetrad of personality that also includes Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and sadism. Dear me, sounds nasty, doesn't it? Narcissists are not overburdened with empathy. They feel that their own wishes and desires are more important than those of others, that they are more deserving of attention, and also have a greater right than others to have their needs satisfied. You might think that people with such shockingly distorted attitudes would be unhappy and unfulfilled, inadequate individuals with thoroughly unrealistic expectations of life. This proved not to be the case at all. When the results of the research were revealed, it was seen that the frank absence of empathy, a common feature of narcissists, had a beneficial effect upon the mental well-being of those whom Dr. Papageorgiou and his team of researchers examined. They were happier, less stressed, and not nearly as prone to depression as the general population. So impressed was Dr. Papageorgiou by the psychological well-being of the narcissists with whom he came into contact in the course of his work, that he recommended the rest of us to consider the advantages of narcissism, rather than focusing only on the less attractive parts of the syndrome. He said, while of course not all dimensions of narcissism are good, certain aspects can lead to positive outcomes. Because narcissists are honest about their wishes and desires, at least to themselves, they get their own way a lot of the time. And this is hardly surprising. You're far more likely to get what you want if you know what that is. They may lack certain emotions, but these tend to be the kind of things which none of us want anyway. Feelings such as guilt, regret, self-doubt, fear, anxiety, and frustration. The problem is that in the modern world, characteristics such as ambition and self-interest have been pathologized and made to appear like defects rather than the virtues which they were once viewed as. We see this clearly when examining another of that so-called dark tetrad to which Costas Papageorgiou referred, namely psychopathy. What are the chief characteristics which distinguish psychopaths from the rest of us? According to one clinical definition, psychopaths display a lack of social emotions such as shame, guilt, and embarrassment. Well, one feels obliged to ask, is this supposed to be a bad thing? What normal, healthy person wishes to feel guilty, ashamed, or embarrassed? They also have a single-minded determination to satisfy their own needs and desires. Again, we're tempted to observe, so what? This single-minded determination to get what you want is usually known as ambition, and only a psychiatrist would view it in such a negative sense. The typical psychopath is superficially charming too. Well, most of us wish that we appeared more charming to others. What's wrong with that? It will not have escaped notice that these pseudoscientific definitions are intended to make psychopaths sound like defective outsiders, men and women quite different from the rest of us. Precisely the same has been done to narcissism. Putting ourselves first and tending to our own needs before those of others is not some unnatural behaviour which needs to be corrected by a course of psychotherapy. Within reason, it is normal to care more about our own interests and put them ahead of everybody else's wishes. There is, in short, nothing wrong with a healthy level of selfishness. That over the last few decades we've been indoctrinated into thinking this abnormal tells us a good deal about modern society and the strange and dysfunctional notions which have now been elevated to praiseworthy attributes. As usual, in the description to this video, I give a link to a piece about the topic which I've discussed here.